Imagine it's 6 a.m. in Minneapolis. Unmarked black SUVs slam to a stop, FBI jackets, ICE agents with rifles, neighbors filming from their windows. And the man in handcuffs, according to the rumor, is Ilhan Omar's husband, accused of a $3.5 million fraud ring. If that sounds insane, it's because it would be one of the biggest political arrests in years.
So here's the question that should freeze you for a second. If Ilhan Omar's husband really had been arrested by FBI and ICE in a $3.5 million fraud case in Minneapolis, why isn't it on every front page, every breaking news alert, every TV channel in America? Tonight we're going to break down exactly what the viral FBI and ICE arrest story claims. Check it against what FBI, ICE, and public records actually show. Expose where this mysterious $3.5 million fraud ring number comes from, and most important, show you how and why stories like this are built and pushed at U.S. audiences. If you've seen that headline and felt, oh my God, what happened now? Watch this all the way through, because the truth behind this rumor tells you more about power, politics, and manipulation than the headline ever will.
You probably clicked this because you saw something like, Breaking FBI and ICE arrest Ilhan Omar's husband. $3.5 million fraud ring exposed in Minneapolis. It sounds like a full-blown crime story. A sitting U.S. Congresswoman, her own husband, a multi-million-dollar fraud ring, federal agents from FBI and ICE kicking down doors. In this video, we're going to separate what's actually documented, what's rumor, and what's being exaggerated or twisted for clicks and politics. Before we dive in, do one thing so you don't miss deep dive breakdowns like this. Hit like, subscribe, and don't forget to press the bell icon so you actually see the next video when it drops. Now, let's start with what this rumor is really saying. On YouTube, TikTok, X, Telegram, you see flashy thumbnails. FBI and ICE raid Ilhan Omar's husband, $3.5 million fraud ring busted. Breaking. Omar's husband arrested in Minneapolis. Immigration and money laundering scheme. Usually they show random raid footage with FBI or ICE jackets. But roll of Minneapolis streets. Photos of Ilhan Omar and her husband with text like busted, arrested, exposed. The impression they want in your head is simple. FBI and ICE jointly raided a location in Minneapolis. Ilhan Omar's husband was arrested. He was part of a $3.5 million fraud ring, sometimes called immigration fraud. Sometimes campaign fraud, sometimes welfare or benefits fraud. It's told like a done deal, case closed, guilty, next scandal. But that's not how real federal arrests work. Before we talk about politics or motives, we need the basic question. Is there any official evidence that this arrest ever happened? Anytime you hear FBI and ICE arrest in a big political case, do this quick check. Official websites go to FBI.gov news, press releases go to ICE.gov newsroom. Homeland Security investigations. Ilhan Omar husband, his name, Tim Minot. $3.5 million fraud Minneapolis. In a real multi-million-dollar fraud ring, you would expect a named case, a list of charges, quotes from officials, sometimes even photos or details of the operation. Major news outlets, search outlets like AP, Reuters, CNN, Fox, NBC, CBS, BBC. Plus Minneapolis media like the Star Tribune, KARE 11, WCCO. If a congresswoman's husband is arrested by FBI and ICE in a $3.5 million fraud scheme, it's not staying on just a couple of YouTube channels. What do we find publicly? No FBI press release announcing his arrest in a $3.5 million fraud ring. No ICE statement confirming such a joint operation. No mainstream or credible local outlet reporting that he has been arrested or charged in that type of case. That doesn't mean you can't criticize him or Ilhan Omar. It does mean the specific FBI and ICE $3.5 million fraud ring arrest story is not supported by official evidence. So where is this coming from? To understand how this rumor formed, you need to know a few real facts. Ilhan Omar is one of the most visible and polarizing members of Congress representing Minnesota. Her current husband, Tim Minot, is a political consultant. Runs or is part of a consulting firm. His firm has been paid significant money by Ilhan Omar's campaign for consulting and advertising services. Those payments are visible in public campaign finance records. add up over time into the millions of dollars, have been heavily criticized by her political opponents and conservative media. We're talking about ethics questions, debates over whether it looks corrupt, arguments that even if it's legal, it might be wrong. What we are not talking about, at least in public documents, is a federal indictment calling it a criminal fraud ring, a DOJ press release saying her husband has been arrested and charged, a confirmed FBI plus ICE operation hauling him out in handcuffs. So there's a real controversy here, but it's about campaign spending and ethics, not a publicly confirmed $3.5 million criminal fraud case. The rumor takes those real numbers and turns them into something much bigger. So why that specific number $3.5 million? Here's how stories like this are usually built. Start with real money campaign finance filings. Show Omar's campaign paid her husband's consulting firm a large amount totaling in the millions. Add a political spin. Critics say, this is basically Ilhan Omar taking donor money and funneling it to her husband. They might call it corrupt, shady, or self-dealing. Turn opinion into fraud. Instead of, I think this should be illegal, some jump straight to, this is a $3.5 million fraud. Attach law enforcement. Buzzwords bring in FBI, ICE, ring, arrest, exposed. Suddenly, a political ethics argument sounds like a closed criminal case, even when no such case exists in public records. Package for maximum outrage. Dramatic raid footage, often unrelated. Red text, siren sound effects. Thumbnails designed to make you angry instantly. By the time you see it, the question, is this legal? Has turned into, they've been arrested for a $3.5 million fraud ring, without the evidence to back that jump. Let's compare the rumor to real FBI and ICE fraud investigations. When the FBI or ICE bust a multi-million-dollar fraud ring, especially one with any political connection, you usually see a Department of Justice press release on justice.gov, names of defendants, exact charges, wire fraud, bank fraud, mail fraud, immigration fraud, money laundering, details on how the scheme worked, how much money was involved, which court is handling it, what the potential sentence is. Sometimes there's a press conference with agents and prosecutors, local TV coverage from outside the courthouse, reporters asking politicians for comment. Ask yourself honestly, do you really think the FBI and ICE quietly arrested Ilhan Omar's husband for a $3.5 million fraud ring in Minneapolis? And the only place that story lives is in a handful of thumbnails and tweets with no case number, no court documents, no official statement? That's not how real federal crime stories work. Whenever you see a headline that extreme, ask, who benefits if I believe this without checking? Political opponents, people who want Ilhan Omar out of office, gain a lot if her name is mentioned next to FBI, ICE, arrest, fraud ring, even if nothing is proven. Voters start to associate her family with crime, not just controversy. Emotion beats evidence. Click-driven content creators. Some creators don't care as much about truth as they do about outrage. Watch time, add revenue. FBI and ICE arrest Ilhan Omar's husband, $3.5 million fraud ring exposed, is guaranteed to get reactions, trigger comments, bring in views from people who are already angry at her. Even if the video itself is full of allegedly, could be, and people say language, the thumbnail and title do the damage. Disinformation and manipulation. There are real actors inside and outside the use who like making Americans believe everyone in politics is a criminal, turning every issue into a scandal so people either give up or radicalize. Flooding your feed with so much noise you can't tell what's real. That doesn't mean Ilhan Omar is above criticism. It means you have to be smarter than the headline. Let's give you a quick tool you can actually use. Next time you see a headline like, breaking, FBI arrests politician in $5 million, fraud ring, ICE raid exposes massive scam tied to name. Run this 5-step check. Click through. Don't just stare at the thumbnail. Does the video article clearly say, has been indicted, was arrested on date, charged in court? Or is it all, sources say? Rumors claim, what if, could be involved? Official sources first check. FBI.gov, newsice.gov, newsroomjustice.gov. Press releases. If it's real and multi-million-dollar big, they almost always put out something. Multiple different outlets. Is it being reported by at least a couple of mainstream outlets with different politics? Local media in the city where it supposedly happened? If it's only on tiny blogs or partisan channels, be careful. Details, Not just drama, look for names of prosecutors, judges, case numbers, court district. If all you get is massive fraud and zero specifics, that's a red flag. Separate. I don't like this. From this is a crime, you can think, this looks wrong. I think this should be illegal. But that's not the same as. The FBI and ICE have arrested this person in a fraud ring. Only evidence and due process can make that leap. Let's sum it up clearly. About the claim. FBI and ICE arrest Ilhan Omar's husband, $3.5 million fraud ring. Exposed in Minneapolis. Based on what is publicly available. Ilhan Omar and her husband have real controversies around campaign payments and ethics, and those numbers can reach into the millions. There is no confirmed public record that the FBI and ICE have arrested her husband as part of a $3.5 million criminal fraud ring in Minneapolis. The $3.5 million figure appears to come from total consulting campaign money, which critics call corrupt, but which have not so far been turned into publicly documented federal fraud charges. Viral videos and posts that present this as an established criminal fact are mixing real pieces, assumptions, and political spin into something that looks like a true crime story. You can dislike her politics, argue the rules are too loose, want stricter campaign finance laws. But before you repeat, the FBI and ICE arrested her husband in a $3.5 million fraud ring, ask, am I repeating a verified case or just someone else's weaponized rumor? If you're still watching, you're already doing more than most people. You're not just reacting, you're thinking. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think politicians should be allowed to pay their spouses' consulting firms millions from campaign donations, even if it's legal? Or should that be banned completely? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more deep dive breakdowns of viral crime stories, FBI ICE cases, political scandals, and what's real versus rumor, hit the like button so this video reaches more people. Subscribe to the channel and don't forget to press the bell icon so you get notified every time a new video goes live. Thanks for watching. Stay sharp, stay skeptical, and don't let any breaking headline think for you.